bad game for us. We did some good things early in the first quarter, and then we had two really bad ends of quarters in the first and second. And unfortunately, we're unable to overcome that. I mean, we tied in the third quarter, but it's just we just didn't play well. So disappointing.
Rick, they're obviously a talented team, but what about this matchup is so tricky for you guys on the defensive end?
I wouldn't say it's tricky. It's just, you just got, Embiid is, he right now, he's probably the MVP, with what their team is doing and how he's just elevated his game. And he's as difficult a guy to game plan for as there is in the game. I mean, Giannis is crazy ridiculous. Jokic is, same. And this guy may be even more difficult, if that's possible. But he's, he had 31 points in less than three quarters, and just made it look like he wasn't even trying to do it. And we threw a lot of different things at him, and so he's a great player. He's a walking NBA cheat code right now. He's just that good. And so they're a tough matchup for us. We should have won the game in Philadelphia, the last one. We got up 4 late and had a couple of, uncharacteristic, untimely turnovers that got it to overtime, and played them pretty well last weekend here. But tonight we didn't play well.
What have you seen click for Aaron recently on both ends? He had a career high tonight.
Good recognition, measured aggression, being aggressive in the right situations, and his shots been in rhythm the last few games, really nice. And so good to see. He's one of our real hard-playing guys, soldier. He's out there guarding Embiid. And he's a soldier, man. He's what we're going to be about. That kind of attitude, that kind of approach.
You talked after the Bucks game about Andrew going to the rim and how that changed things. It seemed like he still had kind of the same focus offensively tonight. What did you see from him? What did you like?
Yeah, I liked his game tonight. His aggression to the rim. He made a lot of good reads offensively. Shot the three. 2 for 4. That's really good. And I like his rhythm on his 3-point game. I like his aggression to attack the basket. In this league, you got to play with attitude, especially against the great teams. And so, Milwaukee, particularly in the second half against Milwaukee, he was doing that. Tonight showed a lot of positive signs as well.
You talked about Nwora as a playmaker. He comes out with 5 assists tonight. Look, he had some pretty good vision. I know he had some turnovers there, but how are you seeing that develop? Are you seeing did you see kind of another step with him as far as playmaking and vision was concerned?
Yeah, he's got some real unique skill for a guy that's 6'7", 6'8". The style that we play, you've got to make quick reads, quick decisions. A few of his turnovers, he just put on the floor one too many times. A couple times he reverse dribbled into some traffic. I think it's just a matter of getting more and more used to how we play as opposed to how the Bucks play. And we're allowing him, the latitude to do some more things. I mean, with our system, in Milwaukee, he was really a spot up guy and did that extremely well. But, this is an exploration phase with him. We're finding things out. Ultimately, we're going to have to find out which things make sense and which things maybe doing a little too much, but a lot to like about his game. And I think with a summer of real, attention to detail with his strength, conditioning, all that kind of stuff, he's got another level that he can go to.
I think every time you played these guys, you talked about how good Maxey is, and obviously he comes out with 31 tonight. Just what impressed you about his game? What made him tough for you guys to deal with him on top of Embiid?
Yeah, he's a great young player. the thing about Harden being out is now you're going to, ball's going to be in Joel's hands a lot more. It's going to be in Maxi's hands a lot more. And we didn't do enough to disrupt those guys, 22 for 33 is ridiculous, from the floor combined. So, and that's them doing an awful lot of good things and us not doing enough good things to make it hard on them. So, I think we're done with them for this year, unless we see them in the playoffs somehow. And, going into next year, we'll have a lot of film to look at. I expect their team to be pretty much the same or very similar next year.
To the point of disrupting them, I think they shot like 60% most of the game. Where would that start? What change would you like to see kind of in general from the defensive side?
Well, for one thing, we had 17 team turnovers for 23 points. And that derailed us in the first half. When we got on decent runs, we'd have a run of 2 or 3 turnovers in a row that, would take our crowd out of the game and get us de-energized. And so, they only had 8 for the entire game. We had 8 points off their 8 turnovers, and they had, 23 off of our 17. And that's a huge thing. So part of it, we can't disrupt ourselves with unforced turnovers. That was one thing. I thought early through a lot of the first half, we played Embiid pretty well. We made it hard on him. He wasn't living at the free throw line. Myles was out of foul trouble. We were doing some things to attack him. And really, I thought it was our unforced errors on offense that led to a lot of our problems on defense.
And you mentioned, I think, the exploratory phase with Wara. Is that fairly true kind of for these last 10 games, the themes of kind of the last 20 games, really? Figuring out what you have and how they work together?
Yeah, and, we've put in a new play for him, to just play mid-pick and roll basketball with our 5-man. And he scored on it 3 times in the Milwaukee game. I think we may have ran it once tonight. I think we got a wide open shot and missed. So, he's got some playmaking ability. But for him to really put it all together, I think this summer is going to be critical. I think he's got really good size, and I think with the right strength program and all that kind of stuff, he can take things to another level.
I think the 2 dominant players on the team are a tough guard for anybody in the league. So we're trying different schemes, different adjustments. Embiid's MVP runner-up, or whatever it is for a reason. So it was a tough guard for sure.
Is there any adjustment left to make, or is it just kind of hope he misses more or hope someone else misses more when he's playing like that?
I'm not really too sure about other adjustments. We got a real good coaching staff. They threw everything we had at them, try to play them tough. I'm not really sure. I got to watch the film for that one.
For you on the offensive end, being more aggressive, attacking the basket more, how do you feel like that's opened up your game these last couple games with you at the 1?
I think it's done a good job for myself. I think it's just been good for just the way we run offense. If the guy who has the ball in their hands puts pressure on the rim for themselves or for others, just opens up the game for a lot of players. So I think it's been good for me.
Where else have you seen just growth in your game in these last couple since Tyrese has been out? Obviously the aggression has helped you a lot. What else do you feel like you've, improved and built on over these last couple games?
I think the force that when I'm going to the rim with, the amount of shots I'm taking at the rim instead of mid-range shots. I think I'm just being more aggressive in transition, understanding when to play with fast pace, when to slow it down, play with some pace and ball screens. I think I've just found my pace a little bit more the last few games.
With Aaron and Jordan are both, first off, those guys are playing on the floor a lot more together, and obviously Aaron's scoring a little bit more. You're seeing Jordan create a little bit more. What's impressed you about each of those guys and how maybe they're adding to their games?
I think for Jordan, he's been real good addition for us. Can score, can play make, super smart, shoot 3. Does a lot of things out there for us, and he's got size. And I think Aaron, you've seen all season, plays super hard on the defensive side of the ball, super versatile on that side of the ball. and he's becoming more confident with the ball in his hands, getting downhill, a lot of go catches, a lot of playing off the catch, kickouts and stuff. So they've both been looking good.
Andrew, to the point of pace, just for you in general, is it now gotten to the point 71 games in where it's kind of at ease, you can read the defense, things aren't coming so quickly as they did the first couple of months?
For sure. I think it's getting easier. I don't want to say it's easy at all, but it's getting easier. I'm finding my spots better. I'm reading the game better. And I think that's only going to keep getting better with experience.
What led to the conversations of you trying to attack more and do all that? Was that in Detroit? Was it one specific coach, one film session, anything like that?
Yeah, it was more in Milwaukee. The way they were guarding us 2-on-2 is kind of like if one of us in the ball screen didn't make an advantage, it was going to be tough for us to kind of get offensive going. And TJ did a great job of that and really set the tone in that game. And the coaching staff kind of told me at halftime, like, get deep in the paint, don't settle for mid-range shots, and stay aggressive, stay confident. So, yeah, I think Milwaukee was the one.
And then big picture, like getting on the floor, it was your defense. Now they're leaning on you offensively way more. What has that felt like as a guy still trying to prove it every single day in this league?
Super exciting, actually, because I've always been an offensive guy, really. So it's just nice to, everybody, whether they tell you or not, everybody thinks about offense before defense. Like, they love offense. They want their offensive game to flourish. So it's been nice to kind of see that side of the floor slow down for me.
Embiid is huge, and he's tough cover. He requires all five guys on the floor to be aware of his presence. So, he's just a tough cover.
Career high for you tonight, playing well recently on the offensive end. What do you feel like has maybe clicked for you recently?
Just trying to slow the game down, playing at a better pace, and still letting my teammates, find me in great spots and playing off of them, and they make my life easier. So.
It seems like you're attacking off the dribble a little more, especially today. It seemed like you made kind of more of a point to get to the rim that way. What was there? Is that something that you want to do? Is that something that's a kind of imperative for you to do more?
That's what the defense is giving me today. The lanes was open, and we did make a point to get downhill, get to the rim, be aggressive in the paint. And so that was point of emphasis for this game. Yeah. Just
obviously you mentioned Embiid. I mean, they put you on him a few times. You had to go up against him. I mean, what's that part like? I mean, and what's different? You've obviously guarded great players this year, basically. But what's different about guarding him?
It's tough because he's such a big dude, 7 foot, and very heavy. And it's hard to guard him without using your hands some and be physical. And in today's game, the way the refs call it, it's hard to be physical with a guy like that and not get in foul trouble. So it's trying to find that balance. And when I first got him, I picked up like 3 quick fouls because of it. And I found my balance at the second half of the third quarter, and I stopped fouling him, and I was able to play him more square. And it's just being able to do that for the majority of the game, and it's hard to find that balance.
Obviously, this with Tyrese being out, there's been an opportunity for a few guys to develop. What's impressed you about Andrew and also Jordan, the situation those two guys have been in and the plays that they've made in those situations? I
mean, we've always knew how special Andrew is, ever since the Golden State game early in the year. He's a big-time player. He makes big-time plays whenever we need him. And, he did that tonight as well. Just couldn't get in the win column. But for Jordan, like I said before, I sympathize with Jordan just because we came from a similar situation, and him getting the opportunity to play here and be himself and make mistakes and not look over his shoulders, it's amazing. It's a great feeling, and he's proven, continuing to prove why he's a high-level player. So.
And what's this season now kind of been like in terms of taking on a greater role and being counted on night in and night out?
Sorry, say it again?
What has this season in general just been like for you in terms of being counted on, getting those minutes every single night, and a night like tonight, shouldering the offensive load?
It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. This is what I wanted. I wanted to have a big role. I wanted to get the opportunity to play and make mistakes and just contribute to winning on both sides of the ball. And I got the opportunity to do that here. I'm going to continue to do it and get better and continue to learn and continue to try and win basketball games.
Rick mentioned, at least in terms of Jordan, it was kind of an exploratory phase here, these final games. Do you kind of feel like in the bigger picture, that's kind of what this time is about for the team right now, is figuring out who fits where and what pieces and how that can all coalesce and work together?
Yeah, it's just finding everybody's strengths, finding where everybody's great at, where everybody can help the team, and with guys being out and other guys being able to have more opportunity and minutes, it's a great time to figure out those strengths and continue to build on them moving forward.
You know, both times we played them here at the house, they just shot the hell out the ball. Obviously, Embiid presents his problems, but when you try to double them and double him, he just makes the right play, and guys are knocking down shots, and it's unfortunate, but sometimes you got to tip your cap.
Tyrese, you've had to turn to a few other guys recently. What have you seen from Andrew and Jordan recently in terms of growth?
I think Drew's been capable of what he's doing all season long. You see it in stretches, but I think he's really just putting his head down and being aggressive. And that's what we need from him, just him to step up. And, Jordan himself, he's a scorer. I think he's still trying to find his way with our lineup and this team and the way we're structured. But there's no doubt that he can put the ball in the basket. So it's just about doing that as efficient as possible for, 1 through 15 on this roster.
What's the pressure about how Aaron shot the ball lately? I mean, he's obviously been a key piece for you guys all year, but it seems like he's finding out.
Same thing. I think he's just being aggressive. He's just picking and choosing his spots. I think same thing with Aaron. He has all the talent in the world. It's a matter of, applying it in certain situations. He's done a much better job of picking and choosing his spots, and the maturation is definitely there.
Do you have any goals or things you want to accomplish on a team level in these last 11 games?
Man, just fight. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We got 11 games left, something like that, 10, 11 games. Anything can happen these next 10, 11 games. We're still in a position to make this play-in tournament, and that's everybody in this locker room's goal, is to get to that spot. So we're just going to compete hard every night and, give it all we got. That's all you can ask for. This group right here is go out here and just compete.
They were just making a lot of open threes, We stuck to a game plan, and they just killed us from the outside, It's tough because you got to worry about one person, then you got to worry about everybody else as well. So, obviously going in, we knew they was a great shooting team, but that's what killed us, is just letting them get set their feet for open threes.
You had some good battles with Embiid tonight. We just heard Rick call him a human cheat code. It seemed like you guys were able to throw some different looks his way, that you tried to make his life difficult. He still has a night like that. How challenging, frustrating can that matchup be?
It's challenging, frustrating. He's an all-star for a reason, and that's what makes him who he is. He dissects teams and he picks up on the defenses. But at the end of the day, we just stuck to our game plan. He beat us in that, and that's all that happened. It was a great game plan, but at the end of the day, he just made it work for us.
A good offensive night for the team despite a loss. Can you build off of that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I believe we won the highest offensive rating teams in the NBA. It's just all a matter about the defensive end. Once we get a defensive end going, that pushes for the offensive end. So I feel as though that's what we got to really focus on. Is just, we know offense is going to come. It's defense that's what's going to save the game for us.
This team is 5-2 in its last 7 road games. You head back to the road, another 4-game trip coming up. What do you feel like has turned for you, and what's the key to keeping that high level of road play up here as you get ready for Charlotte?
Pretty much just bringing that intensity, that energy. Obviously going into an away crowd, as an opposing team, you got to bring your own energy. And I feel as though that's what's going to help us push through that, is just bring that energy and making sure that we up for the fight.